2023 has truly been the year of artificial intelligence. The breakthroughs this year have been phenomenal. There's so much buzz about artificial intelligence, and it's totally justified. And this is mainly thanks to the progress made by ChatGPT and OpenAI. I'm Joe James, and I want to give you in this video a brief introduction to artificial intelligence. I want to explain the most recent changes or developments in artificial intelligence and why they're important. And I also want to walk through the top main fields of artificial intelligence and show you some of the other players, the other big players that are developing APIs for app builders in artificial intelligence. So this is really from a programmer's or the software engineer's perspective, what tools and resources are available to build AI applications. Now, I think two of the biggest changes recently in artificial intelligence, one is generative AI. In the past was basically not very widely seen or not very powerful. But now we see this thing called generative AI, which means taking a text prompt on something and creating either a story or a book or any kind of long dialogue about it, and even an interactive dialogue. So this thing called generative AI can also create images that are phenomenal. So really impressive imagery created just from a text prompt. So one big breakthrough is generative AI. And the other, I think, is that in the past, you had access to TensorFlow or some other artificial intelligence library that you had to provide your own training data. Now you have access to artificial intelligence APIs that are already pre-trained with massive amounts of training data. So they have tremendous capabilities without even a single bit of training data provided by you. You can just take the existing model, the existing API, and apply it to an application, and most likely it already has sufficient training data to already achieve what you want to do. So what kinds of things is artificial intelligence being used for? Well, I want to present 5 main fields within artificial intelligence, and then you'll kind of see how some of these applications fit in. Natural language processing, speech, translation, machine vision, and generative AI are 5 different fields within the space of artificial intelligence. So natural language processing basically starts with natural language understanding the meaning behind text, what the text means, right? What they're trying to say. And if you can decipher the meaning behind a piece of text, then you can have an interactive dialogue with the artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence can be used to answer questions or create new content or whatever. But there are a variety of that opens up a lot of different applications for text interaction with the artificial intelligence engine. So it's useful in chatbots, for example, or automated email responses for customer service, things like that. It can also create text summaries of documents or document classification in business. Another useful application is for companies to get feedback or analysis, kind of market feedback on a product or a service that they announced. And they can do sentiment or emotion analysis on social media feeds to understand how people respond to a product or an announcement. So there are a lot of different applications of natural language processing, and there are a bunch of different companies doing natural language processing. So as you can see, there are, of course, the big guys, the Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and IBM, basically have APIs for every one of these key categories. But there are also a bunch of different startup companies that have very impressive APIs that are already pre-trained in some of these categories. So within NLP, for example, Hive, Cohere, these guys jump to the top. WIT have very impressive APIs for natural language understanding and natural language processing. And in some cases, some of these smaller startup companies actually have more specialized solutions that are already developed for a special application, such as chatbots, that may be more tuned or more applicable for chatbots than something that, say, IBM Watson provides. So speech consists really of speech to text and text to speech. So there's kind of 2 main categories within speech. This is useful for captioning. It's important for translating because you can take spoken language, convert it to text, translate it to another language, and then convert it back to a spoken language again. It's also useful for voice interaction with computers or some kind of computer-controlled device, as well as real-time captioning for meetings and things like that. Machine translation. Now, in the past, translation has always been done manually by people, right? And then we saw this great Google Translator that came out that could actually translate stuff pretty impressively. But gradually, translation engines have switched entirely to machine-based translation using artificial intelligence, not just looking up word by word and translating word for word, but actually trying to capture the meaning of the text, translate the meaning a lot more smoothly and elegantly into another language. So that is a lot harder, but with artificial intelligence and a huge body of training data, they're able to do that. So translation is a really important growing area of artificial intelligence. And there are a number of different companies doing that, not just the big guys. Some of them are doing a very impressive job. And there are a lot of different applications for these translation APIs, as you can imagine. Vision consists of not only facial recognition, but also object recognition, image recognition, image labeling, things like that, as well as autonomous driving, robotics. There are a lot of different subfields just within machine vision and AI for vision. So that is a huge growing field, and there are a number of APIs that are specialized just in machine vision and even just in facial recognition. And lastly, generative AI, which has probably made the biggest breakthroughs in the past year. So you can actually write books or research papers or create music or gaming characters. The things that you could create from using generative AI are just astounding nowadays. So this is a really important subfield of AI, and we've seen just from ChatGPT the phenomenal progress that they've been able to make in generative AI. And I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is going to continue to get better. So the point where generative AI is going to be, it's going to replace probably a lot of people who are creating content. And the number of applications for generative AI are just almost endless, really. So in future videos, I'm going to dive deeper into each one of these areas and look in more detail also at the APIs that each of these companies offers and see how you can use those in applications in artificial intelligence. I hope this video was helpful for you. If so, please click the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'm Joe James. Thanks for watching.